You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. An international dispute erupts between Zambia and South Africa over the country's economy. EDITH NAWAKWI hints that HH may be arrested by the police on the day of filing in of presidential nomination papers. KAMBWILI and FINDLAY agree to settle drug couriering allegations outside High Court. In international news, 2 people killed in Chad while 27 have been injured as protesters demand civilian rule. And in sports news, Zambian football legends team up to clean up Heroes ACRE ahead of 28th anniversary. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja says there's urgent need for self-policing in the fight against corruption within the police service. Speaking when he officially opened the Integrity Committee training at Lilai Police College, Mr. Kanganja notes that every year the service records high cases of corruption, which he says are detrimental to the social and economic growth of the nation. He has since called for an enhanced approach towards the fight against corruption and not leave it to the Anti-Corruption Commission alone. And speaking at the same event, Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has charged that corruption being faced in Zambia is rooted in the systematic weaknesses that exist at different levels of institutions, both public and private. More in this report.
The Zambia Police Service, mandated by the Constitution of Zambia to protect life and property, has fallen down the corruption box on many occasions, such that it failed to miss its appearance in the corruption index. To top it up, the public perception about the police is worse than bad, as it is ranked one of the most corrupt public institutions. In this regard, the service, with the help of cooperating partners like the Transparency International Zambia, joins other public institutions in equipping itself to combat graft at institutional level. Tuesday, Transparency International Zambia officiated an orientation workshop for integrity committees in the police service, which is expected to help improve transparency and accountability within the service. TIZ Executive Director Morris Nyambe says the fight against corruption is still far from being won, adding that a lot of work needs to be done to ensure success.
In many fora, our belief as TIZ is that the corruption problem that Zambia is grappling with is rooted in systemic weaknesses that exist at different levels and in different public and private institutions. It therefore follows that interventions that aim at tackling corruption will only yield positive results if they take a similar systemic approach to addressing this unwanted scourge. Now, the integrity committees that have been set up in most public institutions, including the Zambia Police Service, are potentially a very effective tool for kickstarting the system-wide interventions that will help to address the corruption problem in Zambia.
And Anti-Corruption Commission Acting Director General Rosemary Kuzwayo says an effective integrity committee is essential in the fight against corruption.
Effective and well-trained IC is essential for the successful implementation of anti-corruption strategies in the institution, and the Zambia Police Service is no exception. I would therefore like to urge IC members to fully utilize the resource available here to garner as much knowledge as they can to help effect the change and the change we all desire to see within the Zambia Police Service. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to effectively carry out your roles as IC members, you must be proactive and live beyond reproach in all of doing this.
Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja says integrity committees are a focal point in the prevention of corruption in the police service.
That the fight against corruption is for the Anti-Corruption Commission alone. The Commission is not present in the research of the policy mandates and cannot be everywhere to police everyone. Therefore, there is great need for self-policing to ensure that everyone is doing the correct thing and correct thing at the right time. Every year we hear of cases of alleged corruption, misappropriation of funds, embezzlement, and fraud of public funds, non-compliance, legal procedures, as judicial duties, just to mention but few. All these vices of corruption, malpractices, and maladministration need to be categorized as they are instrumental to the social and economic growth of the nation.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Mushindano Town Council Chairman Lakson Mulumbi has asked authorities in Northwestern Province to intervene in the manner the Zambia National Service ZNS officers are mistreating farmers in the area. According to Mr. Mulumbi, he tells Camnet TV News in an exclusive interview that the ZNS officers are confiscating maize from local farmers headed to Kipushi border on account that it is being smuggled to the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Mr. Mulumbi explains that Mushindano, being without a food reserve agency FRA depot, the farmers opt to go and sell their maize at the border, but ZNS officers confiscate it, making life difficult for the farmers. He states that the nearest depot for the farmers is in Solwezi district, which is about 150 kilometers away.
The economic survival for most farmers across the country, especially peasant farmers, largely depend on the sale of their agricultural produces. However, in Mushindamo district of Northwestern Province, farmers are said to be having difficulty times to sell their maize as the area has no FRA depot, while officers from the Zambia National Service ZNS are said to be confiscating maize from farmers who opt to sell their produces at the Kipushi border between Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo on suspicion that they are smuggling it into the DRC. Mushindamo District Town Council Chairman Lakson Mulumbi, in an interview, has since asked authorities from the provincial administration to intervene.
So our encouragement this time around is that government must find means and ways to buy our crop. The problem that we have, Kalan, is that in the border area, from Kishela up to Kalinji, we have no FRA there that buys the maize from the people. Now, on market days, Tuesday and Friday, when people get a bit of their harvest to go and sell at the border so they can have money to be able to fend for their families, ZNS actually is confiscating this maize from the people. In some cases, they beat them. In some cases, they mistreat them very, very much. So you have a case where people are sandwiched in an area where Solwezi is very far, the nearest market is at the border. They have grown some, some crops, some maize, and they need to sell, and they have no one to take it. Because when they take 2 meda or 10 meda to the border, Zionists will tell them you are smuggling. Now, where do you want people to sell their maize? If they are living in Musaka area, or Kikola area, in Kamilombe, in Kashiba, in Sobonto and the surrounding areas, where do you want them to sell the maize to? Because they can't bring to Solwezi. And there's no FRI to buy the maize there. So I think this matter must really be handled, where we must separate between those that are smuggling maize and milling from Solwezi to the DRC, but also work out a mechanism for the local people to ensure that they can access the market at the border.
Mr. Mulumbi has also asked the government to quickly work on the dilapidated Solwezi-Kipush road to enhance trade between Zambia and the DRC.
From January to March this year, trucks were spending as much as 2 weeks, 3 weeks on the road. Others were stuck for 1 month. I've slept on that road myself, I think about 3 times, because we were not able to pass because of the state of the road at the time. So at the moment, I think we'll safely say that it's very important for the contractor that is on site to be financed and to be able to quickly mobilize on the other side. We're hoping they can start from the Kipush on the border side, then start coming back this way, because that is where the state of the road is extremely very bad. For example, the stretch between Mushindamo River up to Yowela, and also the stretch from Shindamo River up to Kafulabunga. And even at Kalindi, as I speak to you right now, there's a stretch where the people that were given to put gravel there just heaped there and remove the old culverts. Even now, that whole stretch is releasing a lot of water, and trucks of vehicles are failing to actually pass from there right up to the border, a stretch of just about 5 kilometers. So right now, all we need is the goodwill to make sure that the state of the road is actually brought to a very good condition for cars and transport to move from one point to the other.
Kalan Muchima reporting for Camnet News.
Young Emerging Farmers Initiative Executive Director Matthew Ntabo says there is no need for government not to start the importation of potatoes in the country. Mr. Ntabo notes that such a move will not promote the potato industry in the country. He adds that government needs to help local farmers grow by supporting them with necessary material so that the country does not experience shortages of potatoes.
They should actually not allow any potato, because we have the capacity, we have the land, we have the water, we have the human resource, we have the labor to be able to cultivate and market this commodity. So going forward, we want government to maintain this prohibition of importation on selected commodities such as potato, and this will help the agribusiness fraternity to grow. The sector is going to receive enough growth in terms of the real income, unlike what has been happening in the past. We've been able to import everything from fruit, vegetables, potatoes, and everything else. Zambia ended up being just a market for other countries, other farmers from other countries. We think that this is the right time we have, and we don't need to wait for any other time. The time to do that is right now. Thank you very much.
Forum for Democracy and Development FDD President EDITH NAWAKWI has questioned why the Catholic Church and NGOCC are quiet over the purported abduction of the Hatembo siblings. Ms. NAWAKWI suspects that the two institutions' quietness could only mean that because the matter involves their favorite son in the name of Hakainde Hichilema. Ms. NAWAKWI, at a media briefing in Lusaka, further alleged that Mr. Hichilema has fled to South Africa to avoid being visited by the law, but states that he may still be arrested on the day of filing in his presidential nomination papers. More in this report.
Forum for Democracy and Development FDD leader EDITH NAWAKWI
has held press briefings in succession, all bordering on Hakainde Hichilema, whom she accuses of being a criminal, despite the courts of law ruling that Mr. Hichilema did not dubiously acquire a farm from the Hatembo family in Kalomo over 20 years ago. Ms. NAWAKWI still maintains that HH did so and wonders why the Catholic Church and NGOCC are quiet on the matter, maybe because it involves their favorite son, Hakainde Hichilema.
If it is Edith NAWAKWI who sat on that farm, you'd see what would happen. You would see, I mean, I've been shocked that the NGOCC, the Ngwases of this world, no one is saying anything. I've been startled that my own father at Kapingira house, they are not saying anything, thanks to the Archbishop of Lusaka. Everybody's mute because maybe it involved their favorite kid. So someone must stand up for justice. Someone must stand up for justice. And if Edith NAWAKWI is seeing that she's standing up for a poor family, so be it.
Ms. NAWAKWI at a media briefing in Lusaka Tuesday morning further hinted that Mr. Hichilema may just be arrested for not availing himself to answer to charges leveled against him regarding the whereabouts of the Hatembo siblings, being Feluna and Milton.
The family wants them back, they better be honorable. If they think that this matter would die after the elections, who knows? They could even be arrested while fighting nominations. You never know why the police are slow. So I'm just giving you a friendly warning. You could be going to fighting and you find that you are being arrested at fighting. I mean, it's been going on for more than 4 months. And I'm also wondering, why are the police so slow? You never know, maybe Wakwigirago come back. So take my advice.
Asked why she seems so concerned about a matter which should be handled between the Hatembos and the Hichilemas, Ms. NAWAKWI explained that if she is not their relative here on earth, she will be their relative in heaven.
And I've been getting WhatsApp messages, insult, leave the Hatembos alone, they are not your relatives. I'm a Zambian, and I want to be a leader. Every Zambian, including Mr. Muchima, is my relative. I must be concerned about the list of Zambians in this society to stand up and say, I want to be a leader. It cannot be just when Tom Halwind seemed to be hijacked by the police, that the leaders of UPND stand up. And you are telling me that Edith NAWAKWI shut up because they are not your relatives? We will meet in heaven. We shall be in the same boat in heaven. If I'm not their relatives now, I'll be their relatives in heaven. And it is not right for those of us who are educated to trample on the poor.
She further accuses the UPND of having evil intentions against the Hatembos and later accused her of being behind their death.
These people are being held hostages by the Hakainde clique and thinking that time for nomination will pass and maybe that's when they will release them. I'm very worried that the hyped frenzy that they are running away from Edith NAWAKWI, she will kill them. Maybe they themselves want to kill them and come and tie the intestine around my neck. And I thought to myself, I better tell the nation that the one who is holding them is Hakainde Hichilema. Because the day I said Hakainde Hichilema is holding them, he ran away to South Africa.
But the UPND has charged that Ms. NAWAKWI is becoming irrelevant each day that passes. UPND National Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa further questions Ms. NAWAKWI's hatred for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking at a media briefing Tuesday morning, Mr. Mwetwa says whatever is troubling Ms. NAWAKWI, Zambians must unite to pray for her as she needs serious prayer. Mr. Mwetwa says the FDD leader's quest for political relevance has made her lose political directions, urging Zambians to ignore her.
All I know is that she's doing noise making. That's what I know. She's doing noise making. We are tired of the noise from NAWAKWI. She has abandoned her noble core, which we had appreciated her for all this long time. From the time, remember, she lost funding. She has become disgruntled. HH sold himself a house from Lima Bank. Here the fact sued quiet NAWAKWI. There's decency in politics by doing politics which is issue-based. So let her make noise. I think the people of Zambia should stop listening to NAWAKWI now. It's too much of her. Fabricating lies. How many lies does she want to tell the nation before she can realize that the nation has lost confidence in all her utterances? What should it take? When you are a leader, even if you are not a member of parliament, even if you are not a minister, even if you are not a president, but if you are a political leader, you assume a status where when you speak, people take you as telling the truth. You have a public responsibility to conduct public affairs in a manner that does not mislead the citizens because of personal gain.
The Zambian government says South Africa's Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, is not fit to occupy public office. Information and Broadcasting Services Minister Dora Silia, who is also chief government spokesperson, says Zambia is disturbed by the conduct of Mr. Mboweni, who has continued to issue demeaning remarks against the country's economic affairs. Ms. Silia says government has observed a worrying trend by Mr. Mboweni to ignore diplomatic etiquette and embarking on bad-mouthing a sovereign state. Government's comments come in the wake of Mr. Mboweni's remarks pertaining to Zambia's economic outlook, which he says is very gloomy. Mr. Mboweni also laughed at President Edgar Lungu's decision to fire former Bank of Zambia Governor Danny Kalyalia and replaced him with Mr. Patrick Vunga, among other tweets about Zambia. But Ms. Silia says contrary to Mr. Mboweni's malicious campaign, Zambia has done so well in the fight against COVID-19 that even reputable international media houses like CNN labeled Zambia as a safe destination for tourism in 2021. She says copper prices are so high, providing the hope for the country to rebound economically. In a statement to Camnet News, the minister adds that whatever personal issues Mr. Mboweni may have must not be allowed to jeopardize the good relationship between Zambia and South Africa. And moving on in the news, an audit conducted by the Zambia Public Procurement Authority, ZPPA, has revealed that the Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporations, FICO, is not in tune with the recommended procurement processes. The ZPPA undertakes audit to determine the completeness and accuracy with the Public Procurement Act and international best practices. ZPPA Director General Ida Chela has told a media briefing that in the first quarter of 2021, one procurement audit was conducted at the Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporations of FICO, where it revealed that the institution is not following lead procurement requirements. She says the procurement audit revealed that substantive work was required in order for Zafico to become a complainant. Meanwhile, the authority has announced that it has determined 4 appeals, out of which 3 from the Examinational Council of Zambia, NAPSA, Lusaka City Council, were dismissed in accordance with Section 70, Cap 5 of the Procurement Act, while 1 appeal from the National Road Fund was upheld in part.
Out of 8 were substantially compliant, then 5 were fairly compliant. Then 8 capacity visits were conducted in the following procuring entities. We had 1 at Mukuba University, Kitwe Teaching Hospital, we had Masaiti Town Council, we had Impongwe Town Council, we had Chinsali Municipal Council, we had Provincial Education Office in Chinsali as well, which is Muchinga Province. We had Shiwangandu Town Council, Mpika District Health, and Mpika District Health Office. Then the authority also determined 4 appeals out of which 3 were from Examinations Council of Zambia, NAPSA, and the Saka City Council were dismissed. So 3 were dismissed in accordance with Section 70, subsection 5A of the Public Procurement Act, while 1 appeal from National Road Fund Agency was upheld in part. In part means that there could have been several issues that the bidder requested for, but then maybe some were dismissed. So it's only in part, it's not the whole. The NZPPA also undertakes audits in order to determine the completeness and accuracy of procurement processes, to ascertain compliance with the Public Procurement Act and the international best practices. In the first quarter, we conducted the procurement audits at Zambia Forest and Forest Industries Corporation, that is ZAFICO, and this PE requires some work for it to become compliant.
And still in the news, a postpartum patient has died at the University Teaching Hospital COVID-19 Isolation Center, leaving behind a 2-month-old baby. Health Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda says the young woman died from COVID-19, which she contracted few weeks after giving birth. Dr. Chanda states that the death of the young mother brings the total number of COVID-19 deaths in the country to 1,249. He says 41 new COVID-19 cases have been recorded in the last 24 hours, with 31 patients on oxygen therapy while 7 others are in critical condition. Dr. Chanda, however, says vaccination against the virus is the only way to stop the further spread of the pandemic in the country. He has since stated that 3,059 people have been vaccinated in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of those vaccinated to 17,851.
There is nothing more painful than a woman losing a child, but the pain of a child losing a mother when she needs her the most is one of a devastating experience. This is a case of a woman in Lusaka who has died from COVID-19 8 weeks after giving birth. The identity of the woman remains hidden, while information shared by UTH Director Clinical Care Dr. Alex Makupa suggests that the child is currently with a relative to the deceased woman. It is believed that the woman was admitted to the University Teaching Hospital on 17th April 2021 for suspected pneumonia, which was later discovered that she was actually infected with COVID-19. Health Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda, during a routine COVID-19 update, said COVID-19 remains a threat and will continue to claim life if people continue to not adhere to the said preventive guidelines.
Sadly, we recorded 1 death of a young woman who was postpartum and she died because of COVID-19. Yes, she's postpartum, she had given birth and then got infected with COVID-19, and she died in the University Teaching Hospital Isolation Center. The cumulative number of COVID-19 related deaths recorded to date now stands at 1,249. We again remind the nation that the third wave is probable in Zambia, and our only hope in averting or mitigating a severe upset lies in strict adherence to prescribed public health measures and vaccinating the majority, over 70% of our adult population, who are eligible for us to achieve what is called herd immunity. It therefore remains concerning that some of our people in our communities continue to drop their guard, despite knowing that COVID is there, moving around maskless, without a mask, or wrongly wearing masks around the chins, around the neck, and engaging in crowded events as if COVID disappeared a long time ago, and in other super spreader events.
The minister has since underscored the importance of getting vaccinated in order to prevent the further spread of the pandemic.
The national cumulative number of people vaccinated as of yesterday stands at 17,851, of whom 5,986, that's 34%, are healthcare workers. Others in the targeted pillars who have received the vaccines include civic leaders, teachers, transporters, religious and traditional leaders, police and other security wings, traders, immigration and port staff, as well as some prisoners. We therefore encourage everyone who is eligible to access the vaccine as it is available to you. Remember, prevention is always better and cheaper than cure.
While many theories have continued to surround the COVID-19 vaccines, COVID-19 remains a threat and has continued to kill without discrimination. Hence, one has to make a choice to either get vaccinated or not. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Chief Shepherd at the Solwezi Diocese Catholic Church, Father Charles Kasonde, has encouraged Zambians to take the AstraZeneca COVID injection to insulate themselves against the deadly disease. Father Kasonde says those refusing to take the vaccine have their own reasons which should be respected, but says people must take the vaccination exercise serious. The clergy has since commended government for having taken a more proactive approach to ensure that citizens are protected. Father Kasonde said this after leading other parishioners at the church in receiving the vaccination at Solwezi General Hospital.
There are two schools there. Some are saying don't take it, others are saying take it. Those who are saying don't take it, they have their own reasons. Those who are saying take it, they also have their own reasons. And looking at the way it is, I thought for myself and a number of my brothers and sisters in the Catholic Diocese of Solwezi, to take it is the best way possible to prevent ourselves from an attack that can be virulent and be very strong on us. We should commend our government for having taken this proactive move, that the vaccine is brought into our country at the right moment, when there are predictions that as we go into the cold season, things may be worse. So our government, caring as it is, has thought it wise that we could be provided with the vaccine. And that's the more reason why I'm here. So it is quite commendable. My message is that let us be calm and be patient. The coming in of the vaccine is one of the ways in answering to the fight against the COVID-19.
We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have more interesting stories lined up for you.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
When you get Showmax, you get instant access to full seasons of award-winning series and blockbuster movies.
It's amazing.
You get shows you won't find anywhere else, like Showmax Originals.
Thank you so much.
You get awesome kids shows.
Freaking awesome.
Amazing documentaries.
You literally cannot make this up.
And now you also get live world-class sport from Supersport.
Everything's under control.
All ready and waiting for you to watch online on your smartphone, tablet, desktop, or smart TV, wherever and whenever you like.
Whoa.
So what are you waiting for? Go to showmax.com to sign up. From football seasons to binge-worthy seasons, you'll get it all on Showmax. One platform, endless entertainment.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. A Lusaka businessman, VALDEN Finlay, and National Democratic Congress leader, Jimba KAMBWILI, have entered into a consent judgment in a matter in which the NDC leader was sued over drug dealing allegations. In this matter, Finlay sued Dr. KAMBWILI for accusing him of being a drug dealer and using the presidential jet to traffic drugs. According to a consent judgment filed in the Lusaka High Court, Mr. Finlay and Dr. KAMBWILI have agreed, among other things, that Dr. KAMBWILI, at the election of the plaintiff, paid damages of libel, slander, and malicious falsehood, provided that the sums are agreed in default to be assessed by the Deputy Registrar. More in this report.
In September 2019, Lusaka businessman VALDEN Finlay took National Democratic Congress leader Jimba KAMBWILI to court seeking damages for libel and slander and an injunction to restrain him, his servant or agent, from publishing defamatory matters against him. Mr. Finlay dragged the NDC leader to the Lusaka High Court for defamation of character for alleging that he was a drug dealer taking advantage of the presidential trip in the presidential plane to courier drugs. Mr. Finlay, who is seeking, among other claims, damages for libel and slander, lamented that his reputation and character as a renowned businessman had been damaged as he had been labeled a drug dealer and a trafficker. In December 2019, the Lusaka High Court confirmed an order of injunction earlier granted to Mr. Finlay, restraining Dr. KAMBWILI from defaming him through drug dealing accusations. However, in January 2020, Dr. KAMBWILI requested the Lusaka High Court to throw out the case as it was clear from Mr. VALDEN Finlay's conduct that he was no longer interested in prosecuting the matter. But in the latest twist of the case, the two, Mr. Finlay and Dr. KAMBWILI, have entered into a consent judgment. According to the consent judgment filed in the Lusaka High Court, Mr. Finlay and Dr. KAMBWILI have agreed, among other things, that Dr. KAMBWILI, at the election of Mr. Finlay, pays damages for libel, slander and malicious falsehood, provided that the sums are agreed in default. The two have also agreed that the order of injunction granted to Mr. Finlay, restraining Dr. KAMBWILI from publishing defamatory matters against the businessman, shall become permanent from the date of the judgment. The parties have further agreed that cost of and coincidental to this action shall be borne by Mr. Finlay and are to be taxed in default of agreement. The two, however, have agreed that the judgment be entered on specified terms in favor of Mr. Finlay, who is the plaintiff in the matter. The opposition leader, Dr. Jimba KAMBWILI, has also been dragged to the subordinate court by new Congress leader Peter Chanda for a similar offense, where he is said to have questioned the relationship between Mr. Finlay and the head of state, and further alleging that the presidential plane is used to courier drugs. The matter is before Magistrate Felix Kauma, where the accused is currently on his defense. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And moving on in the news, Customs Clearing and Flight Forwarding Agents Association of Zambia has accused the Zambia Revenue Authority, ZARA, of trying to kick local clearing agents out of business by introducing a new clearing and forwarding module. Association President Bruce Kayemba says the content of the new module is designed to benefit big and foreign clearing companies, who will then continue to externalize all the much needed foreign exchange in the country. Mr. Kayemba says he is not moved by the threats issued by the ZARA Commissioner General Kingsley Chanda, alleging that the current country-wide protests his association has staged is against fighting smuggling in the country. He says the clearing sector has a lot of challenges which were acknowledged by President Lungu during the State of the Nation address in 2019, where the president directed the Ministry of Finance to ensure that all of the bulk of the clearing businesses from the government ministries and quasi-government agencies be given to the indigenous Zambian clearing agents.
So today it is very shocking to hear the entire Commissioner General accusing us of wanting to frustrate the ZRA efforts to fight smuggling. What is equally disheartening is that he has gone a step further and taken the matter personal by attacking me personally. However, I will not stoop so low and start attacking personalities here, because we have real challenges in the clearing sector that we need to focus on and find lasting solutions to address them. First and foremost, this module was not done in good faith and is aimed at pushing us, the indigenous Zambian clearing agents, out of business and putting it into the hands of the multinationals, who will then continue to externalize all the much needed foreign exchange. For your own information, members of the press, these multinationals control or clear 95% of all the imports into Zambia. Out of this 95%, 45% is solely cleared by a single multinational company. This leaves the indigenous Zambian clearing agents to scramble for the remaining 5%. These figures we are giving you are not a mere concoction by ourselves, but are given to us by the same ZRA, and it is shocking now that the same ZRA is changing goalposts and wants to impose on us a system which will make the situation even worse. It is interesting that in the same ZRA statement, threats are made to revoke the licenses of all the clearing agents participating in this protest. Need I mention that no single individual is too big than the clearing sector, and as such, threats are mere empty rhetoric.
The opposition Socialist Party on the Copperbelt province has charged that the Zambian people have experienced more state interference on judicial processes under the current regime. Copperbelt Province Socialist Party spokesperson Joseph Kangwa says this is evident from the unfair trials which those in the opposition go through. Mr. Kangwa explains that in most instances where cadres from the PF and opposition clash, chances of cadres from the ruling party being arrested, even if they are the aggressors, are very slim. He has also asked the Constitutional Court to firmly guide on the controversial debate on President Edgar Lungu's eligibility. Mr. Kangwa states that Zambians expect nothing but a fair ruling on the matter without taking any sides. The Southern African Interfaith Peace Mission has announced its intention of embarking on a peace walk from Lusaka to Kitwe. Interfaith Peace Mission Director Howard Banda explains that the walk is aimed at raising awareness on the need to safeguard Zambia's peace as the country goes to the polls in the next few months. The walk is scheduled for Wednesday, the 28th of April 2021. Mr. Banda says political tension has already begun to fuel anger in the country, stating that there is need to consistently remind the general public on the need to remain level-headed when dealing with political matters. Mr. Banda says peace is a catalyst of development, saying Zambians must not take advantage of the peace it enjoys by allowing political differences to divide the nation.
We also want to ensure that we speak against such, whether it be tribal or intra or ethnic differences that are existing today. We are trying to suppress such by introducing the white card, which is going to be flashed against any form of violence. We also want to ensure that every Zambian become a member and a card carrier of this card, white card, which is a symbol of neutral, which is a symbol of tolerance and accepting one another politically, socially, and ethnically. And as this virtue stands, we will be taking a walk from Lusaka to Kitwe, which covered about 380 kilometers, to campaign for peace and to ensure that Zambia is given a platform of development without violence. And for this, we commit every Zambian to this trust that let us arise to the occasion and defeat every element of division that might suppress the developmental agenda that Zambia is expected to see, that they are alive, and life is what we should respect first. But at the end of the day, if there's any political figure, whether political or not political, there's need that they should face the wrath of the law. We should not threaten people's lives or abducting people and again, trying to mismanage the rights of people to live and to exist and to coexist. It's very, very important that we come to that level of understanding. Whoever is involved in that matter, in the heart temples.
Patriotic Front PF National Media Committee member Benjamin Siwila has called for unity within the party's file and rank. Mr. Siwila's plea comes in the wake of candidates feeling left out during the adoption process, which is still underway within the PF. Mr. Siwila says those that will not be adopted can still be fused in other party structures so as to continue motivating them. He says every member is key in the progression of the PF. Meanwhile, Mr. Siwila has called on party youths to refrain from political violence as the country prepares for elections in August. He says the country has been known as a beacon of peace and should remain as such, even as people differ on political lines. The PF has so far announced adopted candidates for Western Province.
Bear in mind is that we have the love of the party. And whether you are contesting or not, we have one project and one product to protect, and that is the party that we are all affiliated to. And at the same time, the loyalty we have for President Edgar Chagwalongo. And so the best time that one can show the love and dedication they have for the Patriotic Front, and indeed President Edgar Chagwalongo, is to stick around despite the opportunity or chance of being adopted passes by. Of course, we must understand that the party is bigger than an individual. And so the fact that there are also so many people contesting on one position, as many as they can be there can only be one who can be adopted at one point to actually contest on a certain position. And so those are some of the things that our party members must understand. And that's why the best thing that we can all do if we are dedicated to this party is to make sure that we work as a team, we remain united, and we deliver the 2021 general elections, which will be to the benefit of all of us, because this is not about an individual, but it is about the party in general. So bear in mind that it's all about having a bigger picture in mind. Why are you in the PF and what is it that you can contribute as an individual? And leadership does not really necessarily mean that you must hold a position, but you can contribute in various ways. Just like government is so huge that we all contribute in various ways, and so it's party level. We can all contribute towards the building of the party as well as the victory of the party. Mind you, the truth is the party has delivered. President Chagwalongo has remained focused, and that's why the party has become even more attractive. And we can see this even from the people that are joining the PF, that truly the PF is on the right track. It has remained focused, and that's why it's becoming attractive and growing day by day.
A resident of Chipangali district in Eastern Province has been arrested on 3 counts of impersonating a Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority ZAMRA inspector, forgery, and uttering a false ZAMRA health shop permit. In a statement issued to Camnet TV by Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Eliamupu says Edward Banda, male, age 27, contravened explained Section 55, Cap 6 and Cap D of the Medicines and Allied Substances Act number 3 of 2013 of the Laws of Zambia, Section 32 and Section 38 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, respectively, and will appear in court soon for trial. Meanwhile, the authority has also jointly charged with Gladys Sakala, female, age 21, on one count of operating a pharmacy without a certificate. Ms. Ilyamupu explains that this is part of the authorities' pharmacovigilance exercise aimed at safeguarding the lives of unsuspecting members of the public who may take wrong medication.
A 27-year-old man of Chipangali district in Eastern Province has been arrested on 3 counts of impersonating as a Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority ZAMRA inspector, forgery, as well as altering a health shop payment, and his pending court trial. In a related incident, 2 people of Chadiza district in Eastern Province have been arrested for operating a pharmacy without a certificate of registration issued by the authority, contrary to Section 14, subsection 1 of the Medicines and Allied Substances Act number 3 of 2013. Court trial is ongoing at Chadiza Magistrate Court.
National Union of Miners and Allied Workers President James Chanda says he expects Mopani copper mine to be well managed now that it's under the new hands of Zambians. Commodities trader and miner Glencore, through its subsidiary Kralisa Investment, signed an agreement with Zambia's mining investment arm ZCCM to transfer its 90% interest in Mopani copper mines in a deal worth 1.5 billion United States dollars. And Mr. Chansa says Mopani must be a shining example in dealing with the welfare of employees as well as corporate social responsibility.
Then from now onwards, we are going to look for the best way of managing the mining industry in Zambia. Every mining company must be looking at Mopani as the standard measure. Employees must be properly looked after. The corporate social responsibility must be best at Mopani. The management of copper production must be best at Mopani. Everything that would be meant to manage well the mining industry in Zambia, the best example must be Mopani, because it is going to be run by Zambians. Now the destiny of the mining industry is in our own hands, and we must not abuse it. This is what the phase 1 intended to do at Mopani. We are now in the phase 2, where we also expect government to do very well as well. And the first move, of course, must be to identify the strategic partner that must work with Mopani.
We take our second set of commercials. To stay with us as we still have international and sports news. Don't go away.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
In for a fun and
and adventurous weekend on GoTV? It's double the giggles and double the trouble, as these guys save America from every threat. Yet again, Zupa finds herself in hot waters. Drama, drama, drama. And for a bit of a breather, rub shoulders with the rich and famous at the Oscars. GoTV. Love it.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, at least 2 people were killed and 27 injured in Chad on Tuesday as demonstrators took to the streets demanding a return to the civilian rule after the military took over following President Idriss Déby's death last week. Tensions have risen in Chad following Déby's death, and the military transition is struggling to win over a population exhausted by 30 years of monolithic and autocratic rule. A spokesman for the ruling military council said security forces were attempting to contain the protesters while limiting material damage. The military council seized power after Déby was killed as he visited troops fighting rebels on April 19th. Some opposition politicians have called the military takeover a coup and asked supporters to protest, even as the army appointed a civilian politician, Albert Pandek, as prime minister of a transitional government on Monday. The military council banned protests in a statement on Monday evening, saying no demonstrations that could lead to disorder were allowed while the country was still in mourning.
Anti-junta protests kick off in Chad as the political crisis deepens. At least 2 people were killed in Tuesday's demonstrations called for by the opposition, who allege a coup by a new military transitional government. We're tired of the monarchy in Chad. We're tired. We just want France to free us from this problem. We're tired. The transitional government has come under international pressure. It was formed after the battlefield killing of President Idriss Déby on April 19th. Taking his place as the military council chief is the fallen president's son, Mohamed Idriss Déby. The opposition has also rejected the appointment of a new civilian prime minister.
We now get into sports news. And in sports news, Zambian football legends took time off their busy schedules to clean up the Heroes' Acre, where the fallen heroes were buried ahead of Wednesday's 28th anniversary. The legends have also come up with an exhibition match which will be played at Hero Stadium on Wednesday with kickoff at 13 hours. The match will see members of the KK11 battle it out against the Chipolo Polo side. KK11 2011 captain and 1988 African Cup of Nations Footballer of the Year, Kalusha Walia, is expected to lead the veterans, while CAF 2012 African Cup of Nations captain Christopher Katongo will captain the Chipolo Polo side, which should feature a host of members from Herve Renard's winning side. At Lusaka's Independence Stadium, Heroes ACRE, memories were shared of the fallen heroes as young guns like Christopher Katongo, Given Singuluma and Ignatius Mwepu listened attentively. CAF 1994 African Cup of Nations best defender Elida Litana, former Zanaco midfielder Kabamba Kalande, Vespa Janza and Harry Milanzi told their tales and personal encounters with their late colleagues. Former Zamshore midfielder Andrew Tembo and goalkeeper Martin Mwamba were part of the squad and actually traveled to Mauritius 3 days earlier. The two were only dropped after it was too late. This story is courtesy of Zamfoot Sports. That sports story brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. An international dispute erupts between Zambia and South Africa over the country's economy. EDITH NAWAKWI hints that HH may be arrested by the police on the day of filing in of presidential nomination papers. KAMBWILI and VALDEN Finlay agreed to settle drug couriering allegations outside High Court. In international news, 2 people killed in Chad while 27 have been injured as protesters demand civilian rule. And in sports news, Zambian football legends team up to clean up Heroes ACRE ahead of the 28th anniversary. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Isaiah 53 verse 6 to 7, and it reads, "We all went astray like sheep. We all have turned to our own way, and the Lord has punished him for the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb led to the slaughter, and like a sheep silent before her shearers, he did not open his mouth." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.